type is the individual who has built up a great nest egg. They enjoy investing. They read up on it. Maybe they subscribe to the Motley Fool, or they have the low-cost Vanguard ETFs, right? They really enjoy the process of growing their portfolio, and they've done a good job. They like to research, they like to read, they like to get education, they like to maybe be part of forums online, but they also realize they don't know everything. And if I can just be blunt, not all do-it-yourselfers ever come to that last part, which is the most crucial part that I respect more than anything. It's the person who knows I've done a bang-up job getting to this point, but my area of expertise may not be the area of expertise on all of the pieces that I need for this next stage of life. I know how to grow my portfolio. I know how to keep my fees low. I know how to analyze the differences between this ETF and that one, or whatever it might be. But they've got enough intellectual honesty to say, wait a second, I don't know how to manage the taxes though. I don't know what RMDs are or how that will impact my portfolio long-term. Maybe they look at it and they say, you know what? I don't know how to create an income in retirement. I know how to grow my portfolio, but I don't know how to do it the best way possible in terms of taking money out of the portfolio. Or maybe they don't know when they should turn on their Social Security, or how to time that with their other investments, or they've done so well. This is really common. They've done so well on growing their portfolio and managing their investments, but they know if they're gone, their spouse doesn't know how to continue that same, investment approach. The spouse doesn't want to wake up at 9 o'clock and make trades in the morning and then trades again in the afternoon before the market closes. So this do-it-yourselfer has enough intellectual honesty and enough integrity, in my opinion, to be honest with themselves and say, you know what? It's time for a second opinion. It's time to bounce some ideas off of someone who does this for a living. And what I've found with these individuals, it's really interesting, actually. The industry, by and large, seems to try to work around these people. We love to work with them because they're thirsty for knowledge. They want to get it right. They don't want to give up control. They're looking for a no-pressure partnership versus someone to come in, call their baby ugly, tell them why they're doing a bad job, and then take over everything. They're looking for a partner. And the confident but curious knows that RMDs, Social Security timing, taxes in retirement, income, all these factors will really play a role on the success of their retirement. Now, here's one of the biggest things that I've found is really important for the DIYer, the confident but curious personality type, to come to grips with. The confident but curious personality type has done a tremendous job of growing their investments. They have the spreadsheet modeled out over the last 30 years to show their returns, and they've done the forward-looking projections to say, hey, look, my portfolio is average, let's make up a number, 9% over the last 20 years. And so I'm projecting that forward over the next 20 years, and I'm going to take out a 5% rate of withdrawal. I'm averaging 9. I take out 5. I should be left with 4. Here's where I've seen the DIYer or the confident but curious personality type run into challenges, is that they have built their entire modeling, their entire thought process around an average rate of return, because that's how spreadsheets work. So they've taken the 9% average they've made, and they've assumed a 9% average growth. And once we call time out and have a very nice, thoughtful conversation with these individuals, we ask a very simple question. Does the market give you an average return or an actual return that becomes an average? We've been investing a long time, 20, 30, some cases 40 years. And my question is always, do you get a 9% return every year? Or what does the market actually do? Some years it's up 9. Some years it's down 9. Some years it's up 2, up 7, up 12, up 20, down 20. And those numbers, those actual yields, turn into average numbers. And so one of the biggest challenges we see for the DIY or the confident but curious is understanding the impact when they actually start taking money out of their portfolio with real-time, real-world volatility, because real-world volatility doesn't exist on a spreadsheet. And so the fun part, though, is that, again, the ones who are intellectually consistent are honest enough to say, hey, you're right, I haven't thought about it that way. Because here's where I think the industry gets it wrong with the DIY type. they're not against help. If anything, they crave it. They want to know they're doing the best job possible. The individuals who fall under this personality type that we've met with, they come in and they want the pat on the back. They want to be told, hey, you've done a great job. And guess what, guys? They have. But the next stage of life won't work the way the last did. And actually, one of the biggest challenges that we face as a firm when working with these individuals is not helping them do better. It's helping them embrace the next stage of life. It's helping them take a moment to pause and call time out and reflect and ask the simple question of, will the next 20 years have the same variables as the last? And one of the biggest variables that they haven't faced is volatility. Because although their portfolios have had volatility to get to 60 or 65 years old, they haven't had volatility while taking out money. They've had volatility while putting money in. And that really changes the conversation. So the DIY engineer, confident but curious personality type, they want to know that they're doing the best job possible. And one of my favorite parts about our Retire Forward process and the individuals who fall under this category, the help and benefit they've got from our process, is that clarity of saying, you know what? You've done a bang up job. Let's just stress test it. Let's look, if it's good, could it be better? Or are we going to pursue the best? And so maybe it's looking at things like validating what's working. Let's not change everything. Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. If you have things that are working well, let's keep those things going. But if there are areas that you don't necessarily have the expertise or the experience in, then let us take the knowledge and experience we have from helping thousands of families and say, you know what? We've worked with other families just like you. We've worked with other DIYers, engineers, the confident but curious personality types, and here's what has helped them be even more confident or have a further detailed plan that takes into consideration things like RMDs or taxes or lifetime income challenges. So it's really fun. We don't need to change everything. We need to build guardrails that help strengthen what's already been done and help look at aspects that are missing so far. And the reality is most of our clients who onboard with our firm who come with this personality type, as I said earlier, they're not looking for a control. They're not looking to hand over everything to a firm and say, hey, you do this. But what they are looking for is someone who does this full time and can help them analyze what they may be missing and what they need to be thinking about in order to make their good plan even better. If that sounds like you, if you're the personality type who has enjoyed managing their own finances, but you understand that the taxes are a whole different ballgame, guaranteed income or lifetime income, things where you can have stable income in retirement regardless of market volatility is a whole different ballgame. I encourage you, reach out to us. Let's sit down and go through the process to analyze what you're doing so well, and let's build off of it. And any areas that might need a little bit of fine tuning or areas that need to be tuned up, a lot or a little, we're going to find out. Because there's one thing I know for a fact, the DIYers, the confident but curious, they want to do a good job. That's, I think, what I respect the most about that personality type is they want to do a good job. And I applaud the fact that they'll be honest and say, you know what, I just don't know how to do this part. So I want to learn and I'm going to go out and get the help. So if you're a DIYer and you've been doing your own retirement, but you're ready for a partnership or a second look, bounce a second pair of eyes or bounce an opinion off someone, come see us. Let's sit down and go through the process. Let's model some things out and help give you clarity in the areas that you don't know so you can continue doing what you do so well. And more importantly, when you combine that all together, you can retire with more confidence. Look forward to the conversation.